I actually don't know my gear very well. That's part's true. That's harder. Anyway, okay. For whatever reason, people keep asking about gear. Sorry. People keep asking about gear. So, ginger beer. Somehow I've gotten into ginger beer lately. I don't know why. All right. So, shall we talk gear? I mean, whatever. Okay. Yeah, I think usually people are most interested in what am I plugging into. So we'll start there, and then I'll show you guitars. A pair of Tone Master Deluxes. Fender Tone Master Deluxes. There's the other one. A pair of those. Woo buddy. I love them. I can go stereo with minimal weight, like very little weight, and no mics, and independent volumes of independent of where I set the distortion and how much independent of how much volume I send to the sound guy. It's awesome. And they sound like $1 trillion. They sound really good. They sound better live in a band than they do in the music store or at home. They are just magnificent. That strident presence is incredible in a band. So, okay. So, what am I plugging into? This is my home board, and it's the drives in it. Since I know that's the first question, the drives in it are just profiles of or whatever. They're called on a quad cortex. It's the same, whatever. It's profile. They're profiles of my SD9, my Maxon SD9, which I have the gain off on. It's basically just an EQ pedal, into a Rocket Blue Note, which is my favorite drive pedal of all time. If I were to ever get a signature pedal done from someone, anybody? It would need to be a ripoff of a Maxon SD9 into a Rocket Blue Note with 2 switches. Man. And somehow we'd need the SD9 to go totally clean. I don't know if that's possible. I talked with one builder once. He seemed to think it really wasn't worth trying to do. What's interesting about the reason I use the quad cortex more than anything, and by the way, there's not a ton of reasons, right? My opinion is brought to you by no man, And so I will be quite honest about what I think about any given piece of gear. So like when I say the Rocket Pedals Blue Note is my favorite pedal ever, that's gospel. It's a very low gain drive pedal. It sounds astonishingly good. Very low gain. And so you got to goose it with something. If now they make an Animal that's a higher gain version of it, doesn't quite sound the same to me. What I love though is the SD9 punch in it, and just although you don't get much of a boost out of the SD9, it's still just amazing. Somebody asked, how do you set your gain? The answer in my case is I want as little gain as I can because I think that sounds the best. Where I'll still be comfortable given my chops and my confidence level, where I'll still feel confident about whatever line I think I'm going to go for. Like if I'm really going to go for something, that I'll feel confident enough, almost like the gain is going to help me get there, which is pretty lame. But it also usually means I'm trying to get more gain out of the pedals than I actually want. From a tonal standpoint. Lately I've been toying with compressors, and at least for big solos where I don't necessarily need dynamics, like I mean if the band's already cooking, hit a compressor and it's it's kind of all right, and it's just this confidence, like okay, my notes are all going to pop out. People with better chops than me probably don't have that issue, but so SD9 into a Blue Note. The reason I'm into the quad cortex is more than anything is because I put my SD9 and my Blue Note in there. That my physical pedals are on my Saturday night board, which usually lives in the car. If you want to come on by and smash out my back window, there's a vintage Rat in there, the right vintage Rat with the right chip. I don't know that it makes that much of a difference, but SD9 into a Blue Note. On the quad cortex. So I always wanted the SD9 to go completely clean. Which with the gain off, it's always a little dirty. The quad cortex gave me the ability to do that because I profiled the SD9, and then you can take the gain below 0, and all of a sudden, there's a clean SD9 that never existed in the real world. And I'm perfectly happy with it. It's very cool. It really does profile pedals very well. Some of the user interface is idiotic. I mean, there are things about the quad cortex that are dumb. There are things about it that are amazing. All things being equal, it's worth it to me to use it, mainly because of the SD9 thing. I have fairly strong opinions about every modeler for whatever reason. Like, so my church gig, there are Helixes waiting there for us. It's really kind of cool. I've got a TV gig. There are Kemper floors waiting there for us. I was a very, very early Kemper adopter, and I was, it was the coolest thing ever made for guitar at the time. I feel like it's aged poorly. I mean, the interface is idiotic, and they keep putting out the same freaking thing. And what surprised me was when I was using the Fractal FM3, I could not get a Kemper to sound as good. The Fractal sounds really, really good. So, anyway. So I feel like maybe the technology hasn't aged well either. I don't know, but I was surprised because I really just thought they were going to sound like a toss-up, and the FM3 definitely sounded better. So anyway, but for me, there's something wrong with every model. I also have the Fender modeler, and that one's actually really cool, and sounds really cool. It's almost like I like playing them all. I mean, there are things I like about each. The one I love for effects and being able to do crazy stuff is the Helix. The Helix is a blast for effects and just being able to write a blank check, do silly things. I mean, obviously the Fractal can do all that stuff too, but I don't have an engineering degree. I don't want to sit. You've seen me. I have trouble remembering how to run my looper, my little Boss looper, and so the fractal was like, you know, I'd rather play something, but I mean, you get fast at it, but learning how to make silly stuff happen, you know, to do shenanigans is very simple on the Helix, and on the fractal I didn't find it that simple. So anyway, so that I tended to just not do some of the crazier ideas that I had. So I'm telling you, an underused facet about the Helix is the fact that you can make any switch a momentary switch. That is a chance for magic. I've done some weird stuff with that, and I feel like people don't employ that. So anyway, a pair of sub and ups. Very strange, but let's hear what it's like. So you've heard this. I feel like I'm getting less gain than normal. Oh, you know what? There, I was. All right. But the way I use a Pog or a sub and up is always octave up only, no anything else. I'm not trying to make it sound like a organ like other people do. I'm not trying to do things other than, here's a synthesizer that sounds really cool. It tracks perfectly because it's not really tracking. But let's say I go with a big ambient thing, you know, and hold on. Turn up this delay. Delay. Let's talk delays. Is this on stereo? I think it is, yeah. Wait a minute. Oh, wait, nope. Well. All right. So, second subbing up. Anyway, kind of cool. Just trying to be the first one to some ideas, you know, like to some gear ideas. So, the only modulation I ever use in life is tremolo. I've had people in bands point that out to me. My favorite tremolo is the and it's in my closet in there because I just decided to save some room on the board, but it's the full tone super trim. I really like that pedal, but now I'm just using the one in the quad cortex. My favorite effect in the world is reverb. I have mostly a hate relationship with delay. I hate hearing the repeats. I love feeling them. I hate hearing them. I hate having the note chase me around, you know. I don't like that sound. And so what I really want out of effects is a reverse ducking delay. I want it to duck, but the opposite way. While I'm playing, I want it to be heard. When there's silence, I want it to go away. So, right? Because I want to feel it under there, like a sort of a cleaner reverb, but I don't want to hear the repeats when they would be exposed. So, so delays I tend to keep kind of quiet. My favorite delay ever though is the El Capistan because of the tape crinkle. I keep the modulation off because I tend to not like modulated delay that much. Sometimes I do. Because I tend to not like chorusing that much unless it's, you know, that. So big reverb or, you know, like delays are cool. Just sort of like that for modulation. Other than that, you know, it's not really a part of the sound that I use. I tend to not like pitchy modulation in reverb, but I take it to some extent when I can get it. All right, reverbs though. I love reverbs. I love reverbs. I can talk reverb with you a long time. One thing that I do with reverbs that I do this constantly, and I don't find that other people do. Like when I sit at their rigs, it's the first thing I think if they have a big reverb, and that is I very aggressively high pass my reverbs. I usually cut everything below the high 200s or sometime up to 300. I think the low rumbling reverb is worthless, and I mean it's worse than worthless. I don't like it. So my reverbs typically are just mids and up, about 300 and up. Let's turn this up. Now, reverbs that I like. There actually there are a good number of reverb pedals that I like, but my favorites are the two Nunebers, the Nuneber Illumin, which is what this one is, or the Immerse Mark II. I love those pedals so much. Some of the reverbs in the quad cortex are actually very, very good though. This Mind Hall, very nice. By the way, you know, stereo reverbs are not meant to be heard in mono. So if you have a stereo reverb, make some effort to hear it in stereo. It's very different. Not that that's stereo. It might be. I don't know. So yeah, the quad cortex reverbs are quite good. The Nunebers are the best. I love them very, very much. I just absolutely love them. But if I sit at any other reverb, typically the first thing I'm trying to do, well, I tend to, I don't like much pre-delay, if any. So I tend to cut pre-delay. Aggressive high pass. So up to 300, So a lot of low cut. And then the mix never gets above 50%. That's for sure. It's generally, I don't know, there's kind of a sweet spot, you know, like where it's not the thing you're hearing, it's the thing you're feeling until you're quiet, and then it's the thing you're hearing, you know. Hey y'all, sorry, y'all, can we all stop yelling? Welcome to my home. So yeah, reverbs. It's kind of a big deal. What else? That's that. You want to see some guitars? This is my Ronin Kingbird. So the Songbirds and Kingbirds are both really, really cool. The other best Ronin I've ever played was a Songbird that my friend Stefan used to have. Actually, all right. Well, anyway, all right. My friend Stefan had it, and then my friend Tom had it, because it showed up used somewhere, and it's like, Tom, you really need to get this. So, yeah. Anyway, Tom. Anyway, yeah. Okay. So this one is. I love this thing. I love this thing so much. So it's basically a 2 pickup guitar. All right. So the foil pickups are my favorite pickup. Okay. They made 2 pickups that I particularly love. The single foils, and then the speedsters are really, really cool. The foil bucker, I am less into it than most people. For me, it's just a different sound than I tend to be going for. So, I think these are actually, they're single coils, but they're warmer sounding than the. I say warmer, they lack a certain high mid bump that the foil buckers have, and that I prefer these. So big fan of these. They never sold as well as the foil buckers. This is a 2 pickup guitar until I flip that switch. That switch is broken because this guitar has been dropped 2 times. I was playing with this girl Kayla Sinclair. She's in an M83 now. That's crazy. And anyway, we were playing at a place called Club Dada in Dallas, and I set it across the amp. I remember it was NFL draft night too, when apparently when the Cowboys drafted Zach Martin. I'm not a big football fan, but you know, and it fell over and snapped this, but it still works just as well. It's just got a floppiness to it, and it's lovely. And then Mark Lettieri dropped it one time. He was wearing, we swapped guitars at a gig. I was playing his garage, and he was wearing this for a second until it just fell, smashed right on the ground. So, because I think he had never had it. Anyway, but it's like a SG style. Anyway, it was years ago. I have forgiven him. Anyway, 2 pickup guitar. It's like, it's very telly-ish. Neck pickup. Middle position. And then I can add the middle pickup. This is the best guitar model they ever built, but nobody listens to me. Everybody was ordering the Muraris, which are very cool. They feel super cool. But to this day I would tell you this is the best guitar model they ever built. Yeah, there's that. All right, how about another guitar? I'll just show you all of them. You have seen this, my SG. It's a custom shop thing. It's listed as Lake Placid blue, I guess, or one of the blue, Pelham blue. Presumably with a top yellow top coat, therefore it comes out looking all Sherwood green. I assume that's what they were going for. I'm sure it's just painted green. You know, maybe I could be wrong, but I'm quite sure it's just painted green. Okay, so treble bleed circuit. Oh, by the way, 1 volume, 1 tone. I'm tempted to just take the tone off of there. 1 volume. This doesn't do anything. Just making sure it doesn't do anything. What was that? But yeah, it's not plugged in. Stock Gibson humbucker, Lawler Imperial in the low whine neck in the neck. This one sounded fine. It was identical pickup in the neck. It was too bassy. It sounded idiotic. It's not right. So I swapped that out. Really, I want the bridge to be twangier. It's rare that I go to a bridge and want a big crunch thing. I want a little bit more twang in them all. So this guy, Sun Bear pickups, I haven't checked them out yet, but I'm talking to him. We're talking about, he's going to make a Firebird pickup, and we're going to try it in this. So humbucker size Firebird pickup. We're going to try it in the bridge and leave this alone. Sounds cool. Anyway, all the clips I've heard of his stuff sound awesome. So anyway, yeah, that's that. I'm a big fingerboard radius I obsess over it. I mean, if I pick up a guitar that's got kind of a flat radius, I can't think of anything else. It's like having a rock in my shoe. And it bothers me relentlessly, feeling the flat radius. And this, I always thought, man, it's because 12 is not, that's not flat. But I always, I've never loved a 12-inch radius compared to a curved one. Even though, by the way, I know the way I play, a curved radius is not a good choice. I mean, the bends would do better with. I could do more stuff with the bends with less fretting out or whatever it's called, with a flatter radius. But I just love the feel of the curvature. Anyway, I always thought, man, it's weird that I love this one so much because it's got the 12-inch radius, presumably. Then the guy who does all of my work, this guy Spencer Deaton, great tech, he measured it and he was like, no, this is 9.5, dude. So okay, perfect, great. No wonder I love it. Put these these Godot's locking tuners on there, just to see if it would sound a little twangier, and it did, and I'm happy with it. Anyway, yeah. What else about this? Treble bleed. Everybody will tell you don't put a treble bleed on a Gibson, and I listened to them for years, and the day I finally did it, I was like, yeah, I should never have listened to everybody. Do the thing that is most coherent with your playing, not with what you owe tradition or what you're supposed to do or whatever. As soon as I put a treble bleed on a Gibson, I was finally happy with a Gibson. So, and cutting it down to one volume, yeah, sounds great, perfect. Okay, that's the SG. How about, now this is a loaner. I freaking love it though. This Liot Sumi, it's this is just a loaner. I'll show it to you since it's here. Woo buddy, this thing's awesome. It is so my friend Matt Henderson owns it. He's got so many cool guitars, but this one is nuts. It's a let's turn down a little bit. It is solid spruce, the whole guitar, and with a ebony fingerboard. I love it. Some dirt on it. Maybe I'm not playing so well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 positions. My house is quite noisy, by the way, so your mileage will vary. My it's a old 60s house, and there's too much wiring. So split neck, humbucker neck. Split middle. Split bridge. Humbucker. Middle. Awesome guitar. Awesome. Just freaking awesome. It feels like $1 zillion. Massive neck. Just beautiful everything. Look at this freaking thing. Look at that. Man. Jeez. It's amazing. So cool. Oh yeah, I forgot I have a volume pedal hooked into this. So anyway, yeah, I love this thing. I would put a treble bleed on it and probably cut it down to 1 volume, but it's not mine. So I'm gonna. Oh, the other thing was, I realized after I put some strings on it, after I put some 10s on it, that it must have had 9s on it before, and I thought it just couldn't have nines because it sounds so freaking fat with nines. It was awesome, and yet completely effortless to play. I've had this guitar probably longer than, I think, yeah, I've had this guitar longer than any of them. Early Lent's Tele, another massive neck, just massive. And I recently put the locking tuners, and it upped the twang a little bit. Amazing guitar, lollers in it. Yeah, I've played more or less that a lot. You know, it would make a cool country song. I've always thought this. Like, look in my eyes, do you see? Wouldn't that be a cool country cover? Somebody needs to do that. This thing is awesome. This thing is awesome. This is the guitar that when people play it, like way more than, I mean, I don't know if it's even happened to other ones. The SG, every once in a while, somebody will play something and be like, hey, if you ever sell this, you know, blah, blah, or would you sell this? When people play this one, I've gotten the request to sell it more than any other guitar for sure. Anyway, I love this thing. Anyway, amazing guitar, treble bleed, of course. I've treble bleed everything. So, amazing guitar. I've got a couple in the closet. Oh, here. 63, I think, which I know that means, all right, so somebody just completely butchered this thing before I got it. They put a weird pick guard on it, which I started to take off and it broke. And I was like, yeah, that looks about right. They had put a, they tried to be John Lennon in the 70s or something and put a pickup there, and they put knobs here, and they had already replaced the bridge, which is good because the bridges on these were junk. And for whatever reason, I think it's because it had been played so much, it sounds just freaking perfect. The mic loves this. All right, let's talk about shopping for an acoustic. When you go to shop for an acoustic, if you know any recording engineers, take a recording engineer with them. Don't take a guitar player. Don't just, and if you're not used to recording acoustics, don't just take yourself. You're not looking for the biggest, baddest sounding acoustic. You're looking for, it needs to have a healthy mid-range. If you play a big voicing, crazy, complex voicing, that one's not, but if you play denser voicings, can you hear all the notes? You know, you get that a lot from the mid-range and from the lack of a giant bass. You don't want a really bassy acoustic. You do not, and you don't want a acoustic with a low mid woof. So, can take a while to get to where you know the sound, but when you do this, you don't want to hear it. You want it to have this little woof at the beginning. But also, and I don't know what this is. Maybe somebody can explain it in the comments. This is the best way. The way it sounds like to me is it should sound dry. It should sound bone dry, like it has no reverb on it. Now, obviously that's not what it is, right? But in this case, yeah. Whatever it is, it's not, I don't even think it's that it's ringing. I think part of it is the mid-range. But you're looking for one that that has a simple sound. Like it lacks, it might be a lack of overtones. That could be what it is. I don't know. But that's what you're looking for. That's what the mic wants to hear. That's what your you know, if what I don't know what key it's in. Uh, those great recordings of great acoustic sounds. That's what they have in common. Is the guitar sounds very dry. It sounds very simple. You don't want too much bass. You can have plenty of treble, but you're not looking for super harsh, I think. Most new acoustics, regardless of price, sound like a brick with strings on it. They just sound like metal. I know a brick's not made of metal, but the point is it is an unmitigating factor to it. It doesn't inhibit the sound of the strings, which is just all metal, right? Yeah. Anyway, so you're not looking for super strident guitar. The fact is, when I play acoustics of any price, I just think, man, acoustics are the biggest ripoff in the world, because expensive ones tend to be junk from a tonal standpoint, and mid-priced ones tend to be junk from a everything standpoint. And sometimes I'll play a cheap one, like a cheap Yamaha. It's like, you know what? This is all right. I would record with this cheap Yamaha before I recorded with $4,000, most $4,000 Martins I've ever played. I mean, maybe, or whatever. Who else? I probably shouldn't be ripping on specific brands, but you know, I'm your boy. I'm just going to tell you what I think. I've played some really expensive guitars, and I just thought, man, what a ripoff. I can't believe what they charge for this, you know. And yeah, Gibson Acoustics, yeah. Anyway, some of the, on occasion I'll play a Collings that I think is a really great sounding acoustic, and sometimes I'll play Collings that I think, it's okay, you know. So, but maybe it's just because of what I'm looking for. Dry, not a ton of bass. It can have some bass, but it doesn't need to be woofy. It costs you note definition. The microphone does not like it. If you're plugged in a compressor, the compressor does not like it. The bass frequencies will hog up all the compression. There was a day when I thought I was pretty good at getting acoustic sounds, and then Matt Pence, this producer I worked with, who helped me with the second album, there were the acoustics on You Don't Want What Love Is are just scratch tracks into a RE20, which is not a mic you want to use on acoustics. And I always just assumed I needed to replace them. And Matt was like, "Oh man, what mic did you use? These sound great, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Wait, really? I thought you were going to tell me I needed to re-record them because it's the RE20, blah, blah, blah." And he said, "I love all your acoustic sounds." Matt works with Jason Isbell. The mixing of my That Which Cost Me Nothing was put off because Jason brought in Matt to help with all their drum sounds for their newest album, right? So I got pushed back in the calendar because of that. So when Matt said that my acoustic sound, I was like, "Whoa, yeah, all right, good. I've arrived, and I'll stop worrying to death about it." By the way, acoustic mics, I traditionally like just a big. I use a Bach or Sound Deluxe U195, but now I actually use but I know there's a lot of cool acoustic mics out there, but I started using a pair of and I'm not a cheap hardware guy. I think you get really, really good hardware or use plugins, because plugins are awesome. They are awesome. But the obviously there's not plug-in microphones, but sort of. What's it called? The warm audio 84s, whatever they call the version of the 184s or the 84s. Man, pair of those sounds really good, really good. I was very surprised, and it was on a recommendation of somebody I really respect. Anyway, more guitars, shall we? BRB. There's some guitars in the closet. Oh man, we got some nasty strings here. My Lents, my Lent strat. Is this the most boring video ever? It might be. I know there's a lot of downtime. This is my Lent strat. It's a junior reserve. And it was a gift, which is like one of the nicest things anybody's ever done for me. It's amazing. It's freaking, it's the only strat I own, because I don't, why would I need another one? I haven't played in a little while. Woo! I should have tuned before I started this video. Wow, what? Oh. Alright, well, talk amongst yourselves. I don't know what happened here. Alright. Well, alright, so it's a junior reserve. We went with, you know what? Alright, so there came a point where I decided, and I still hold to this, that I like medium lightweight woods. The really light, if you think that wood makes no difference to guitar tones, then that's fine. You're probably looking for a different channel. It does. Now maybe it's not, I don't know if it's on a species by species level, but the density of the wood absolutely makes a difference. Whatever. If you're convinced it doesn't, cool. Feel free to fast forward past this. But medium lightweight woods. The really lightweight stuff tends to lose some of its twang, and I like a little bit of twang in any solid body. Another thing is with distortion, turns out, and it's not for lack of giving everything else a shot, but I always prefer just a solid body into distortion. Anything that's chambered, I like it less than a solid. Anything that's hollow, I like it way less than a solid. I love, a really cool sound is a great 335. I had a Collings i35 LC until recently. My friend Vincent bought it back from me. Vincent Chadkowski, he's a pro player. Anyway, so the lighter weight woods, the puffier, less twangy sound, it's just it definitely affects it, and I don't like it, and they're as much. So we went with medium lightweight, very nice piece of rosewood. He let me pick everything I wanted on it. What else? His pickups. By the way, the Lent's bridge pickup. It's thick like a humbucker. It's still got some single coilness to it. Oh wait, my tone knob. His bridge pickup is the bomb. Guess what? It's got a treble bleed. That's Scott. The two Scotts let me do stuff that they normally would frown upon, which is very nice of them. It's amazing. I love this guitar. It's incredible. The neck on it is stupid. See if I can even, that light's not doing it many favors. The neck on it is insane. So Daphne Blue. Oh, so years ago, they sort of had I think they had a lot of Daphne Blue guitar strats ordered. One time I called them because I'd finally played an HSL, one of their guitar models, and I was just gushing over it. Like, dude, I finally played one of your HSLs. I can't believe how good a guitar that is. Okay, the two Scotts are the best at Fender style, whatever. So Strats and Tellies, nobody touches those dudes. They're amazing. So, but this HSL just blew me away. It's sort of a Telly-ish thing. It was so cool. And they were like, you know, hey, we want to do something cool for you because everybody who orders a Strat mentions this video that I made back now 15 years ago. It's me with a Daphne Blue one with a maple board. Great guitar. The production values were crap then. They're certainly crap now. Anyway, so they built me this and let me spec it all out, and so the curvier radius and all the stuff that I would do. So it's a junior reserve, but with some caveats, with slightly different things. Kind of a biggish, slight V in the neck that tapers out to a big C, and it's fat. It's awesome. I love fat necks. I don't like wider nut widths in general. I think the SG probably has that, but somehow I don't think it as I'm playing it. On a Strat, I would. So thinner nut width. What else? Anyway, awesome. Just awesome. I love this guitar. I'm amassing guitars around here. Really cool Island Instruments guitar over here. They call it a Gallo. And this one is like a Jazzmaster. It's really sweet. I'm gonna turn down just because I think it's bedtime. Oh yeah. The middle pickup. Anyway, really super cool guitar. It is I forget what the woods are. I don't even care. It just sounds really cool. It's like a short scale Jazzmaster. Like, it definitely is Jazzmaster. By the way, okay, here's another hot sports opinion here. A Jazzmaster that doesn't have the bridge does not sound anything like a Jazzmaster. The sound of a Jazzmaster is this. Listen, all right. The sound of, well, okay, hold on. Well, here. I'm not getting a good demonstration of it right now, but basically it's the sound of the fact that you can hear this side, the fact that this rings on pretty much every note, and this comes through the pickups. My friend TJ, bass player I play with, he played bass on August and Everything After. He called it a chaos machine. A good Jazzmaster is a chaos machine, and that's really what it is, because you've got this accompanying all the right notes, and that's the sound of a Jazzmaster. And if you have a Strat, it doesn't matter what it's shaped like. That's the sound. So this is like a humbucker Jazzmaster. It's really cool. It's short scale, super cool guitar. Yeah, there you go. All right. What else? Oh, yes. I think there's another one. And now I've just got crap everywhere. I've got a Japanese P bass in here, but I'm going to show it. There's other stuff around. You know, like, I mean, there's a cool old Juno. And this, okay, Yamaha YC20, I think is what they're called. They're old. It's an old organ that's got very much like a square wave sound. it was on my song Phosphorus Kids. One of the sounds in there at times is that, and actually there's When Nature Was a Thing has some of it too. It was one that belonged to Matt Pence's studio, and I immediately wanted one. I just thought that's a really cool sound. So my favorite synth ever, though I don't have one, is OB6, or just the Oberheim sound. What's interesting about this this guitar is playing a lot in G minor. This is like a I forget what is a Tesco Del Rey or something. It's a Ronin mod shop guitar. It's like where they take old guitars and they will make them into much cooler guitars. So it's got a paint job and new pickups. These are those Ronin Speedster pickups, and that's how I know the Ronin Speedsters sound really cool, because they make this old Tesco Del Rey or whatever this is. I forget what it is. They make this thing sound awesome. So it has this massive neck and it's small. It's like a little small mahogany body. Really cool guitar. So I don't know if they're still doing Ronin mod shop stuff, but it's kind of a cool idea, you know. So and they just look cool. And you know, you take this to a gig, nobody has one of these, and it sounds really cool. So really short scale, you know. So yeah, what else? I mean, there's the like gear around, but that's the guitar stuff. I'm trying to think if there's anything else worth mentioning. I mean, I've got less old outboard gear than I used to have. I sold Lexicon 300 that I used to have. Sold my H3000. Considering selling my Lexicon Prime Times. What else? Mics. I mean, years ago, Jace Lasik and I line up a bunch of mics of all different prices in front of my voice just to see which one he liked the sound of best on my voice. RE20, the RE21, thank goodness, because it's like way cheaper than the other ones. So I was very happy about that. So that's what I use on my voice. What else? I have like a piece of gear. To be honest, I don't like. It turns out I don't like this, but so I think I'm gonna sell it. But these are kind of cult classics. This Electric's Filter Factory. This one belonged to Tyco. I got it from the Reverb shop of Tyco, and I was like, hey, I kind of wanted to try one of those anyway. The fact that it's Tyco's is pretty cool. And then I got it, and I was like, okay. Turns out I don't love it, so I'll probably get rid of it. But what else? I know what to show you. Stay right here. Coming up on an hour. Check this out. All right, if you're into talk, you may know of there's an instrument called a variophone. And the variophone was a 1970s German-built wind-controlled synthesizer. It's a mono synth. It's got a keyboard, or the one version. One version has a mouthpiece and a keyboard, separate keyboard. Another one is just, you know, has the keyboard on the mouthpiece. But then it's got a synth box, right? You can hear it all over talk stuff. Phil Brown's book, Are We Still Rolling, has a chapter on each of the two final talk albums. There's a song called After the Flood, and the solo in that and After the Flood is some crazy banshee noise. Turns out it's their variophone. It was on the Fritz, and they hit record and they put it over this section. It's so gutsy, so awesome. Anyway, So about 3,000 were made, and now they pretty much don't exist anymore. One, I had a search for one for like a decade on eBay and on Reverb. And one day, there was one. And I'm just showing you the brain part. Turns out my breath controller is whack, and I found somebody to build a new one. But I have a Verifon. Super insanely rare. You know, again, it's another thing to steal while you're here. I probably shouldn't be talking like that. Yeah, Verifon. I would show you, but the breath controller's on the fritz. So, I have a nice, what's it called? Set of orchestra bells, glockenspiel, that my friend Gene Glover, local Dallas legend drummer, were like, this is the 59 Les Paul. I was asking him which ones to get, and they're round tops, something round tops. I forget the brand name, but anyway, it's supposed to be the ones you get. My case is all anyway. I'll show it to you, but it'll all fall apart. No word, big whoop. That's about it. You know, okay. You know what my favorite piece of gear is? Oh yeah, the Fender modeler is really cool. But I know this isn't supposed to be. This is supposed to be, but this is a cool piece of gear. So, but my favorite piece of gear, I'll show you. I always wanted one of these pieces of gear, and it's this. You can hear me talking, and it's just this room. It's a tracking room. I can do vocals back here, and Lady Rainicorn is here, and actually, well, so the ceiling's treated, the walls are treated. I can close these, and it gets just dead quiet. So all you hear is just right in front of you, and you can track acoustics back here. You can leave this open if you want a little more ambience on the acoustics. For voice, just close it all off. It's just dead quiet, no reflections. This is my favorite piece of gear, is this room. A closet isn't the same, you know, because you can always hear the closet. The room is my favorite piece of gear. It's awesome. So it's a shame I'm not really recording these days, but yeah. Anything else in here? Okay, well, yeah, I'm not gonna show you that, because in case I do record another album, I'm gonna use a very interesting idea I had that I then executed, and it works, and I don't want somebody else to use it. So yeah, there you go. I think that's about it. So Atom A7s, I don't recommend them at all. I do not recommend, and I've got the Atom subwoofer. Oh, by the way, I mean if you're gonna use a sub, make sure you treat your corners. I do not recommend Atoms, and it wasn't even the quality control seems to be pretty iffy, but it's really, when it comes time to repair them, it turns out every repair person that I've ever tried to use just gets so frustrated with trying to deal with Atom. And they one of them here in town, I said, hey, can you repair my A7s? He's like, nope, I won't work with them at all. They won't provide parts. They won't provide schematics or anything. They won't give you information or anything. They say that the customer should just buy another one or something. So yeah, I don't recommend Atoms. I'll replace them when it comes time to buy something new. It won't be an Atom. So there you go. So there you go. See, I'm good for telling you what I actually think. I think that's about it. How's that for a boring video? Hey, coming up on an hour. Yeah, so there you go. Anybody who actually wanted to know me to talk about my gear, there it is. I bet you regret it now. Now don't you feel stupid?